불멸의 전사 2.
Welcome back, everybody. Jin Air Green Wings on a tear right now. If they take this next win, they will be at a +9 indicator. Horror versus Trap. The ex-IM player meets the ex-STX Soul player.
And
here.
IM as well.
That's true, actually. He was on IM for a little while. That's right. I forgot about that. That was while Horror was in the military. But you would think like someone like Horror, who basically only had experience for the first year and a half of Starcraft 2 before going to the military, coming back would really be behind some of these other players like Departure, who at the time was also like doing not so well on Zenex, and before that just when Nex was a team coming in. But I mean, Departure stuck around, he didn't go to the military, he's gained so much more experience. Horror, someone that we've seen MVP put a lot of faith in since he joined the roster quite some time ago now. But he hasn't shown us that many impressive games just yet. I mean, we don't see this guy play very often. He was in stasis for a while, if you will.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, the only StarCraft player that has done well since leaving the army is Nest-T. And Horror, honestly, I'm not really sure why the coaching staff of MVP keeps sending out this guy. He probably does really well in the practice house or has a sniping strategy here on Lerilak Crest, but it's really, I don't know how to justify Horror being sent out here, to be honest.
I think it really comes down to Seed is now taking a more coaching role, and because Seed is kind of playing as the playing coach right now, he's gone from the roster. They need another solid fourth fill-in, and it looks like they're rotating between a few players, and Horror just kind of fits the bill for this map list. But I have to agree with you, you know, like, it's kind of a shame. Is there anyone else? Like, why is there no one else? That, I think, speaks to where MVP is as a team right now. He's only played one match this season.
I remember that match quite vividly. It was the Zerg vs. Zelda Prime Terraces, and he tried to do a roach fake, and it didn't work out too well. So we'll have to see how he approaches the Zerg vs. Protoss matchup. It might be different from what we've seen so far in the past from him.
Trap, on the other side of things, very successful in Legacy of the Void, making a bit of a comeback along with Cure. Not as good as Cure is right now when it comes to individual league results. Trap is 4-0 versus Horror. Probably a lot of that coming back from Trap's very first few games of StarCraft 2 after switching from Brood War, because that was probably a long time ago. I gotta say, you know, if Horror wins this game, it would be one of the biggest upsets of the season, despite the fact we're not looking at like champions here. Still, just the amount of experience Trap has over Horror and how much recent experience he has over him really puts him in the lead.
Oh, Daehyun.
Daehyun must know something we don't know, because Daehyun is very smart. But we'll have to wait and see if Horror can show us up here. He's 1-6 in these predictions. He's only played one map this season. Did not work out for him, but we are going into Lerilak Crest. And it's all up to Horror to bring us to that fourth game. If he loses here, Jin Air will take the 3-0, jumping up to a 9-point indicator and a 3-0, keeping their place in first. Let's jump into game 3 to see if Horror can do it. Down to the bottom left, in teal for MVP. The underdog, it's Horror. And up to the top left, in green, it is Trap. Also a former IM player. I don't think they were ever on the same roster at the same time.
No, I think Horror was in the military while he was on the roster, because you've got to remember STX did disband, and then all these players moved on to different teams, and once Trap joined IM and then IM left the Pro League system, then he joined Jin Air, and he's pretty much found the best form he's had so far in his pro game career with Jin Air.
Yeah. You know, when you think about the time period where Horror was being fielded in GSTL, he was actually one of the players that QXC all killed. To put this into perspective, like that's how long ago this guy was a player. He was on the team along with other emotion and adjective players on IM, like I Am Happy, for example, the Terran player who once got a top 4 in GSL.
Oh yeah.
He comes from a time to where if he didn't go to the military, he might have become on that team, which was the best in the world at that moment.
He might have been the next ST.
Yeah, he could have been, you know, or at least someone like Locera, you know, at least someone who has had tons of success over his entire StarCraft 2 career. But he left at kind of a bad time.
Yeah.
Either way, let's take a look at this game a little bit closer. We have Lings on the way now, and Trap is going to wall this off. It's an early pool build here, and it looks like that's what Horror is banking on here on Lerilak Crest, but this wall should be ready in time.
Yeah, it's also chrono boosting that gateway, so that Zealot should be out before those Zerglings manage to get in as oh no, he has to
he doesn't have enough money. He does not quite have enough money for that tight wall. Probe's coming down, and it's a Roach Warren as the follow-up, so he's going to do another attack after this.
Okay, so now we know why he's been sent out on this map, because obviously Seed and Choya have devised this plan here to do one base.
Look at the Burrow follow-up as well. This is starting to look really smart for Horror, because the Burrow obviously can, if he micros correctly, with even his Lings, he could burrow a Ling and stop the Nexus from being made, and stop walls from being planted and things of that nature, so the Roaches and Lings can keep streaming across the map. It's a very low econ build, so he needs to get some serious value out of the first attack, and stopping this probe would have been really important, but unfortunately he doesn't do it, and so this is going to get scouted.
Yeah, that probe's going to scout definitely that there is no hatchery at the expansion, and once he sees that, he's going to be forced to add, well, I don't know what he can do, maybe get that quick mothership call for the overcharges, but will he have enough energy to get the pylon overcharges out? That's a question. So really dicey situation here from Trap. I'm really curious to see how he's going to deal with this.
You know, he's not going to have detection, but sometimes when you see these builds, it's more about the Zerg's micro, because you have to do godlike micro to make sure those Roaches don't die and you get the regens off. A tight wall will also stop Roaches from getting in, and you know, that's what he's going to rely on first. But the Mothership here is already going to do quite a bit of pickoffs. Let's see how good Horror's Roach micro is, because that's what this is all going to be about.
All right, as these Zerglings trying to get into the base of Trap, these Zerglings actually getting eaten up. Oh, there you go, here's the first burrow. Oh no, he misses the burrow there. That's real unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be missing burrows like this when your entire all-in is this, and he's going to make his robo right at the wall here. He doesn't have any pylons in the main. But I mean, this is still just only 3 Roaches, and if they pop up, they're going to be overwhelmed by DPS, and they can't get past. So what are they really going to do here?
Yeah, I thought the Forge would be the better option to get those cannons out, but it looks like he's happy to just work and tech ahead with that robo.
Okay, he loses another Roach. He needs to burrow this one. He needs to burrow it. See, this is it. That's it. Yeah, I said the micro is everything, and you don't micro, you lose your Roaches, and then what happens? What happens next? He has half the probe count that Trap does, and these next 3 Roaches are not going to be able to do anything.
He's building a Nexus behind us. That's how confident Trap is in defending this all in. It's I
don't blame him.
Move.
I don't blame him. Like, even with perfect micro, he's not killing anything. It's like, oh, your Roaches didn't die, but they also didn't stop my economy. I'm about to have an Observer out, then they're all going to die. I have 3 gateways. I have full saturation in my main base. This is just one opportunity here where he has this overwhelming number, but look, even Warpin's coming in with the eco. And he has that Mothership core for extra energy. He just doesn't want those Roaches to get up his ramp away from the pylons. Here's the Observer.
Here's the Observer, and that's over. I mean, there's an overcharge as well. Most importantly, Observer's out, the Stalkers are here, and like, I'm going to see what he's doing at the main base. He's not...
Well, he's typing out. GG. There you go. Generic gets the 3-0. As many predicted, and I like the build, I like the strategy, but to be honest...
Execution was not perfect.
It was not.
And, like, that is a build that, especially against a good player like Trap, you have to execute perfectly, and that's something that Horror didn't do, and honestly, I find it really hard to think that Horror will be fielded anytime soon with that performance.
Let's take a look at, you know, at the very end of that game, when he had all the Roaches there and a few more Lings, it looked like, okay, this is the moment where maybe he can win something. He has to micro perfectly, did some good micro, but the Observer came out, didn't matter. What if, like, the 4 Roaches he lost from Miss Micro were there, too? Maybe suddenly it's a different game where finally the Observer's out, but he doesn't have enough units, more Lings stream in, and he just overwhelms and kills the Protoss. Those first few Roaches he lost cost him the game. Have to be on point with that Burrow micro. I feel like we've seen probably like 10 games, and even going back to old, you know, Heart of the Swarm, when Burrow was first moved to Hatchery Tech, games where players have tried this Roach micro. I can't think of a single one where it worked. It's been tried in these best of ones and these snipes, always in team leagues, never in individual leagues really. And I can't think of a single one where it really worked. And I mean, I've been watching a lot of StarCraft 2 games. This could have worked. Like you said it perfectly. The execution was just not good enough to stand up to someone like Trap, who knew what to do, knew how to respond. And a build like this is designed to be like, I micro so much better than you that even if you have the perfect response, I still overwhelm you and win. It's like the 3-roach rush, the 7-roach rush, when you see it's like, I have some good micro, I'm going to break through, and even if you know this is coming, you can't stop it. We saw it like on Zelnaga Caverns in like 2011, 2010, that part of the time. But anyway, Jin Air Green Wings gets the 3-0. Rogue doesn't even get to play, and there's the +9.
+9 for 0. There's no doubt that Jin Air is going to make the playoffs this round, and they are looking very strong in round 2.
I mean, if you look at the score differentials here, even if SKT 3-0s their next opponent, they still won't be able to pass them. I mean, I think you're right. I think they're actually guaranteed. You look at number 3 and number 4, they're in the negatives. Like, SKT and Jin Air are so much further ahead that it's insane. And I think, in my mind, there's no doubt right now that Jin Air is a better team than KT Rolster. Nobody wants to hear that. You know, KT fans getting upset. But I think this just further solidifies the fact.
And further solidify the fact that Maru is the best player in Pro League. 9-0, that is a crazy record.
I can't think of anyone who's had that. You know, I mean, it was since like 2 seasons ago. We had
I can't even think
close.
in Brood War. Maybe Flash was undefeated for a period of time, maybe Jadong, but 9-0 in a, like, after 1.5 rounds is just unfathomable.
The biggest streak I can think of, I think TY had it, was like 7-0, and I think it was like 6-0 versus Protoss when every Frost is winning with Blink all-ins. I mean, Sue's close at 7-1 right now.
But it's all about that one.